You're listening to the John and Heidi Show, now featuring the wit and wisdom of Dan Farris.
Okay, dudes, let's walk this sucker.
On Sunny 93.3.
It's the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Dan Farris, brought to you in part by GMDvacations.com. Beautiful place.
Beautiful property.
In Kauai, Hawaii. And,
check it out.
Yeah, if you're looking for a place to go and get away from the cold, yucky weather, check it out. GMDvacations.com. Dan, how are you, sir?
Pretty darn good. John Heidi, you doing okie dokie?
Fantastic.
We're cruising through the month, man.
You know who's 41 today?
Who?
Alicia Keys.
A lot of other
Really?
people, too, I bet.
She was a girl on fire.
Was she? I really am not too familiar.
She's just a girl, and she's on fire. Hotter than a fantasy.
Yeah.
Lonely like a highway.
Huh.
She's living in a world, and it's on fire.
All right.
She was a judge on one of them shows, The Voice or something like that.
Alicia seems like a class act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know her. I knew her music before that, but I couldn't have pointed her out in a lineup. But being on that show, she seems like she's got a pretty level head on her shoulder. Like she's a smart person, smart business person.
She's lovely.
You don't typically think that of a lot of musicians. Usually you hear about, yeah, they quit making music, now they're dead broke because they, spent everything. But she seems pretty darn smart.
Who else?
Wow.
Sorry, Dan.
Just wow. Elvis Presley Jr.
Oh.
Do you know this guy's story?
I didn't know there was an Elvis Presley.
Oh, my, yes. The purported, and it's gone to court and everything else. In fact, a judge allowed him to change his name to Elvis Presley Jr.
Okay.
Several years ago. The purported love child of Elvis and Angelique Pettyjohn,
Okay.
who happened to be an extra in the film classic Blue Hawaii.
Okay.
Elvis Presley Jr. is 49.
I'm looking at pictures of him.
See, I'm not making this up.
Does he look like Elvis?
That's the end.
Sounds just like him.
Does he sound like him?
Sure. Something going on there. He's still putting himself out, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
The legend is on.
Actor Dean Jones, born this day, probably most famous for the Love Bug movies. Herbie, the crazy little Volkswagen.
Yeah.
And also starred in a little film classic called The Ugly Dachshund.
Really?
Like there's any other kind.
I'm not a fan of those dogs.
No,
either.
you're not. That's why you're not. It was 1858. Felix Mendelssohn's Wedding March. You know, the dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
First played at the wedding of Queen Victoria's daughter, Princess Victoria.
Really?
Yep.
Very cool.
It's also the first time that the chicken dance was played at the reception.
I'd love to see the royals doing the chicken dance.
Yeah.
Here, hold my crown.
It's always my cue to leave any reception. Chicken dance, bye.
Ooh, I'd get you out of there early. I did that way in the beginning.
Yep, this has been great. Bye. 1959, the first transcontinental commercial jet flight from L.A. to New York took place. Ticket cost $301 back in 1959. That would be, now consider this, you're getting on that plane today to take that same flight. It'd cost you about $2,500.
Woo!
So, yeah, that was big dough back then.
Yeah.
Yep. And in 1870, the soda fountain is patented by Gustavus Dowes in Lowell, Massachusetts. And his brother ran a drugstore, and they came up with just a slicker, quicker way to do the sodas and all that kind of thing.
Nice.
Had to start somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
So do they still have those? Is there a place in town that still has a soda fountain?
I don't think there is in
I
town.
think there's one in the back of Zambro's downtown. I don't know if it still operates or not.
Right. Oh, I don't know.
Been back there.
But it used to. I asked a young lady years ago, growing up in Minneapolis, we were going to go to the swimming pool in the summer. I said, hey, how about you meet me at Hanson's drugstore first? I'll buy you a chocolate phosphate.
Oh.
You can't get phosphates anymore 'cause apparently they cause cancer in laboratory rats.
Did they really?
Sure. So we're sitting there, and I mean, I have a bad crush on, and she's like 1 year older than me.
Yeah.
So I'm punching up already, way out of my
Right.
league. Name was Debbie. So we each have a chocolate phosphate, but when she's not looking, I was dropping dimes in hers just to show her I loved her. So I figured she'd get to the bottom of this phosphate, and finally got up to 70 cents.
The young mind of a young Dan Farris.
I was a player.
How did that work out? Did she choke on
I
the
don't know.
dime?
She didn't finish it. And I couldn't say, hey, and dropped a bunch of dimes in your phosphate.
She's getting ready to leave you. You're fisting your hand all the way to the side.
That was literally the first time a woman let me down, and it's been going ever since. And it's like I wanted to go back and like get it, but then the soda jerk had grabbed it and washed it and stuff, and it's like, oh man, I just blew like a week's worth of salary.
That makes me both happy and sad. Yeah. Sorry, Dad.
Wow, I can't believe this is still an issue with me.
It is.
Oh, my.
I wonder what Debbie's doing now.
She probably died of cancer.
Probably
Those
broke.
phosphates.
She's probably broke.
That's a true story. I'm dropping dimes in this thing.
Oh, that's so adorable.
I've heard of dropping dimes before, but I didn't know that's what it meant.
That's what it was.
That's
yeah.
adorable.
Okay. I know you know far too much, and we can just move ahead here.
We're going to do that awkwardly. It's the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Dan Farris, brought to you in part by GMDvacations.com.
Aloha! Are you ready to enjoy a little slice of paradise? GMDvacations.com is a family-owned, professionally managed vacation rental in sunny Kauai, Hawaii. Your family will absolutely love the area, and the vacation rental has room for up to 6 guests. Why stay in hotel rooms when you can have your own area at a vacation rental from GMDvacations.com? Visit Hawaii with us and make your trip to this tropical paradise one to remember. On Facebook and Instagram, online at GMDvacations.com.
Time now for a bright spot of news brought to you by Paul's Designer Showroom on Lake Lorraine in Sioux Falls. They can brighten any room with a beautiful light fixture. We are going to brighten your day right now with some positive news. We've got something coming up this weekend that you are invited to. I've got Lisa Nolan joining me right now, and we have a Celebrating Education open house. Lisa, how are you doing?
Hey, great. Good to hear from you. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am fantastic. Now, there's an event coming up this Saturday from 10 till noon, Americans for Prosperity in Sioux Falls. Brunch is even provided, which is cool, and you're going to be talking about education. Tell me a little more about the event.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we're big believers that people are capable of incredible things, and one of the things that we've seen is that kids want to learn in the way that works for them, and there are a lot of options in South Dakota. There are a lot of ways for kids to learn, so we want to celebrate that. We want to also celebrate just innovation that we see both within the public school and within private school, homeschool, pod schools, micro schools. There's just so many options, so we want to celebrate that and just kind of talk through some of the different choices that are out there.
And think about how there are several different options. Our daughter went to a school where they had more of the pod-style learning when she was in high school, and that worked really well for her, but it might not be the best thing for somebody else. So I love the fact that we have options. Options are good, aren't they?
Absolutely. We find, we even see that homeschooling has gone up. I think it's up to 5% now. It was 24%, I believe, from 2019 to 2020, and another 22% from 2021 to 2022. So kids are just finding different ways that work for them, and that also allows a lot of movement within South Dakota as well. So rural communities win here too.
And again, that's another thing. I know several people who do homeschool their children, and that's amazing for them. But then there's others that go, I can't do that. Well, you don't have to do that, but it's a good option that it's there. And this event coming up this weekend is kind of talking about all of those options and why they're important, right?
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to hearing people share their own stories as well. We're going to have a booth set up for people just to record why they learn and the way that works for them, what works for them and why they're doing that, and just be able to share their story.
Now, the event is this Saturday from 10 till noon. Is there a fee to go to the event, or do I need to RSVP or anything?
There's no cost to the event. You can go a couple places right to our Americans for Prosperity South Dakota Facebook page, or you can go onto our website, Americans for Prosperity South Dakota, and there'll be a link there to register. But anybody is welcome, and there is no fee to come. It's just open and free to the public.
Very nice. If you struggle to find it, reach out to the station here. I'll make sure I connect you. It's a great event, and I'm glad that you guys are doing this. And again, it is this Saturday, 10 till noon. It is a Celebrating Education open house. Celebrate innovation, discover choices, educate South Dakota. Lisa, thank you very much for taking the time to chat, and thanks for putting your heart into this, too.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for the time. I've got a couple of kiddos at home, and that's been driving a lot of advocacy over the last couple of years.
Well, it matters.
I'm very excited to see people.
It absolutely matters. So thank you again for doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time, John.
Absolutely. Again, Lisa Nolan, Celebrating Education Open House. It's this Saturday from 10 till noon. And again, it's in Sioux Falls. I'll put a link to all of the information at facebook.com/sunnyradio and facebook.com/Sioux Falls News.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. This is a great quote from Wayne Gretzky and from Michael Scott. At InsuranceChicken.com, we know a thing or two about great quotes. We help people get great insurance quotes every day. It's super simple and it's free. Take a shot. We may be able to save you money each and every month. We'd love to help at InsuranceChicken.com. We want to help you peck out great deals on insurance at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
And now stuff Dan finds interesting. Yeah.
It is time for Stuff Dan finds interesting. And Dan, what do you find?
What was that, John?
Spit it out, John. I liked it. I know exactly what you meant.
What do you find interesting on this Tuesday, Dan?
You know, it's been quite a while since we've talked about executing people.
It has. Far
I think
too
it's time
long.
because it just cleared the wire a week or so
I
ago.
only stumbled a little bit. You don't need to kill me.
Oh, no. This just kind of fascinates me. Dateline Oklahoma City from the Associated Press. There are two Oklahoma death row inmates facing executions in the coming months.
Okay.
Now, as you know, it's pretty much lethal injection anymore.
Yeah.
But these two want firing squads. So you start going, what, do we still do that? Well, turns out, yes, we do. In fact, there are 3 states that still allow death by firing squad. One is Utah, the other is Mississippi. And where these 2 gentlemen are residing, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Now, the last death by firing squad took place in 2010. Guy by the name of Ronnie Lee Gardner, who actually killed an attorney during a courthouse escape.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
So he happened to do that by firing squad. So the thing is, according to experts and whatnot, sometimes the lethal injection thing doesn't go real well, kind of like electrocution.
Right.
Sometimes they didn't go real well, whatever. But firing squad and experts who apparently know this kind of thing go, you know what? It is the fastest, most painless way.
I would agree with that. I would choose that
kind of thing. You've got marksmen, and I don't know who they get this pool from, but it's my understanding, and I don't know if they still do it that way today, but one of them actually, their gun has blanks in it. So none of the executioners, if you will, really know if they fired the lethal shot or not.
Okay.
But then you start thinking about it. Could you do that?
Could I shoot somebody?
Could you be in a firing squad in that situation? Here's someone who's obviously done something horrific, or they wouldn't be on death row in the first place. But then you talk capital punishment. Some states still allow it, some don't. It's all over the map. It's always been a thing. But so here you've got this individual, and you're assigned to basically take their life.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally couldn't do it unless
they were coming at you.
And unless they had done something personally to me or one of my loved ones. It's like, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, it would be tough.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge anyone who's doing that for a job.
Yeah,
like if that's what they're doing, I think what they're doing, it's no different than pulling the lever for the electric chair or being the one that pushes the button for the lethal injection. It's the same concept. Or a guillotine, remember those?
That I couldn't do.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. And if that's something that they're doing for, again, I don't begrudge anyone who does that. It would be tough for me to do it.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting story to follow because as it stands right now, the 2 inmates, Donald Grant and Gilbert Pastel, apparently U.S. District Judge Stephen Friad is granting them temporary injunction that would delay their upcoming executions, which are scheduled to be lethal injection, that 3-drug lethal injection, to see if that's actually constitutional. But these 2 guys are going, you know what? Shoot us.
Yeah.
And where they are, it is legal to do that. So
let them. Yeah.
I found this really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Which is why we refer to this segment as Stuff Dan Finds Interesting.
Pretty uplifting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a way to kick things off on a Tuesday.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Dan, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I'll lighten it up tomorrow.
All right. It's the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Dan Farris. It's brought to you in part by G GMDvacations.com.
In the U.S., there are 5 credit cards for every man, woman, and child. That's a lot of credit cards, and sadly, many of those are not great cards. At bettercreditcards.com, our mission is to help you get a better credit card. At bettercreditcards.com, we have credit cards that offer points and perks. Other cards designed to help you build your credit. See if we can help you find a better credit card at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. The Wall Street sell-off intensified Monday, with the S&P 500 down more than 3.5% at the low of the day. The move was driven by the rising fear of inflation and economic slowing in the face of growing numbers of COVID-19 cases. High-growth tech stocks led the decline, pushing the Nasdaq deeper into correction territory and the S&P 500 below the 10% mark. The risk for the market now is a much deeper correction, with the S&P 500 down more than 10% and testing support at the October 2021 lows. There is a risk that the move could go to a full 20%. In that scenario, the S&P 500 would still be well above long-term trends and at a risk of falling even further. At best, investors should brace for a rocky and possibly a range-bound year of trading in 2022. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.